The Asylum on the Hill. The Utica State Hospital appeared on the outskirts of Utica, New York, like a forgotten relic of a bygone era. Built in the mid-1800s, it was the first state-run mental hospital in the United States, a place meant to offer hope and healing to the mentally ill. But by 1942, it had become a crumbling monument to despair. Its Gothic architecture, once majestic, now seemed menacing, with ivy creeping up its cracked walls and broken windows staring out like hollow eyes. The grounds were overgrown, and the air around the building felt heavy, as if the very earth resisted its presence. The locals of Utica spoke in suppressed tones about the asylum, calling it the House of Shadows. They whispered of strange occurrences, lights flickering in empty rooms, distant screams echoing in the dead of night, and shadowy figures glimpsed in the windows. Nurse Mary John, however, dismissed such tales. Having worked at the asylum for over 2 decades, she had grown accustomed to its eerie atmosphere. Yet, even she couldn't deny the chill that would slide up her spine on certain nights. On a cold, rainy night in October 1942, as she walked the streets of Utica, lost in thought, Mary spotted a young man lying unconscious on the sidewalk. His face, pale and gaunt, bore an uncanny resemblance to her son, who had drowned in a tragic accident with his husband years ago. Overcome with emotion, she knelt beside him, feeling a strange connection. Without hesitation, she brought him to the asylum, unaware of the darkness she was inviting inside. The boy, named David. The young man, who appeared to be no older than 17, was admitted as a patient. His name was David, though he offered little else in the way of information. The staff noted his erratic behavior, his sudden bursts of anger, his vacant stares, and the way he would sometimes mutter to himself in a language no one could understand. His presence unsettled the other patients, who would often cry out or flinch back in fear whenever he passed by. Dr. Henry Grayson, the attending physician, diagnosed him with paranoid schizophrenia, but there was something unusual about David's case, something that didn't quite fit. Late one night, as Mary checked on him, she noticed him staring at the corner of his cell, whispering softly. "She's here," he murmured, his voice trembling. "She won't leave." A few days later, a nurse discovered a newspaper clipping tucked into David's old clothes. The headline read, "Teenager murders 3 friends, disappears." The article described how David and his 3 friends had been accused of a heinous crime, the sexual assault of a young woman in their hometown. The girl, unable to bear the shame, had taken her own life. Shortly after, David's friends were found dead, their bodies burned beyond recognition. David had vanished, and no one had seen him since, until now, the first death. Within a month of David's arrival, the asylum was shaken by its first unexplained death. A male nurse, Thomas Grady, was found dead in the shower room. His body was slumped against the tiled wall, his face frozen in an expression of pure terror. His skin was ice cold and his eyes were bloodshot, as if he had seen something unimaginable in his final moments. The staff was horrified, but there was no obvious cause of death, no wounds, no signs of struggle, just the faint smell of sulfur lingering in the air. That night, strange noises echoed through the asylum. Low, guttural growls reverberated through the halls, accompanied by the sound of scratching against walls. When the staff checked on David, he was sitting calmly on his cot, staring at the wall with an unnerving intensity. The next morning, they found him unconscious, the walls of his cell covered in strange symbols and words written in his own blood. The symbols were unlike anything anyone had ever seen, and the words, though written in English, made no sense. "She is here. She will not rest." Rumors spread among the staff. Some believed the asylum was cursed, while others whispered that David was possessed. Patients began reporting nightmares of a shadowy figure standing at the foot of their beds, watching them with hollow eyes. Following this, Dr. Grayson was invited, and it was decided to indulge David in a series of therapy sessions with David, hoping to uncover the truth behind his behavior. During one session, David confessed to killing Thomas Grady, the male nurse. "He was assaulting the others," David said, his voice trembling. "I had to stop him." But as the session progressed, David's demeanor shifted. His voice grew deeper, his words more menacing. "You don't understand," he said, his eyes rolling back into his head. "It wasn't me. It was her." As days passed, David's behavior grew more erratic. He would often scream in the middle of the night, shouting words in an unknown language. During one particularly chilling session, David's voice changed entirely, becoming that of an older woman. "You think you can help him?" the voice sneered. "You think you can save him? He is mine now. He has always been mine." The staff began to suspect that David was suffering from multiple personality disorder, but there was something darker at play. Patients near his cell reported seeing shadows move unnaturally, and the faint sound of a woman's laughter would echo through the halls. The exorcist, desperate for answers, the staff called in an exorcist, a stern, elderly man named Father Michael Donovan. He arrived with a bag of religious artifacts and a grim determination. As he began the exorcism, David's body convulsed violently. His eyes turned completely black, and he broke free from the ropes binding him, lunging at Father Donovan with inhuman strength. It took 7 staff members to restrain him, finally securing him with steel chains. The ghost possessing David spoke through him, revealing the horrifying truth. David and his 3 friends had sexually assaulted a young woman named Eliza. When Eliza rejected David's advances, he and his friends had attacked her in a fit of rage. Unable to bear the shame, Eliza had taken her own life. Her aunt, a practitioner of dark magic, had summoned a vengeful spirit to possess David and exact revenge. With the ghost's help, David had killed his 3 friends before fleeing to New York. The final ritual, Father Donovan performed a final ritual to release the ghost. As he chanted the ancient words, David's body writhed in agony. The ghost, furious at being expelled, lashed out one last time. As it left David's body, it slashed his throat with an invisible blade, killing him instantly. The room fell silent, and the staff stood in shock, staring at David's lifeless body, and Father Donovan received a splash of blood on his face. Nurse Mary John, devastated by David's death, resigned from the asylum. She could no longer bear the weight of the horrors she had witnessed. The asylum closed its doors for good in 1943. Left to decay in the woods outside Utica, New York, the haunting continues over the years. There have been numerous reports of strange occurrences at the abandoned asylum. Visitors have claimed to hear faint whispers echoing through the halls, and some have even reported seeing the shadowy figure of a young man wandering the grounds. The locals of Utica say it's David, still trapped in the place where he died. Or perhaps it's the vengeful spirit that once possessed him, still searching for its next victim. The Utica State Hospital remains a place of darkness, a reminder of the horrors that can unfold when evil is allowed to fester. Some stories, as the saying goes, are better left untold. But for those who dare to listen, the whispers of the asylum still echo, a chilling warning to stay away.